Haugo slips out of a few tackles, and Peter Haugo's out for the races.
I'm doing up for the team.
Sheds the first defender, sheds the second defender.
Busted open. Jack Smith down the right sideline and into the end zone.
Remember the 3rd of November. Welcome to Varsity Sports Live. I'm David Brown. That's Jason Andera. Semi-final Friday. I know it is your favorite high school football day of the year. And like that old MTV show, The Real World, you think you know, but you have no idea. What a night.
You knew, we both made predictions on all these games, and we knew there was going to be some surprises.
For sure.
But the ones that actually ended up surprising us, I'm not sure if we could have projected that. That's what semifinal football is all about. Congratulations to the 14 teams that punched their ticket to the Dakota Dome next week. And, of course, in North Dakota, we've got some contenders as well.
14 semifinal games in South Dakota. Guess what? We got highlights from all of them. Let us start in 11 AAA. Game you saw right here on Midco Sports. Number 4, Brandon Valley. Number 1, Sioux Falls Lincoln. Turnovers plaguing the Lynx in the first. Jack Thuey can't get the handoff. Lincoln recovers inside the red zone, and they would capitalize. Tate Schaefer ran more in this game than usual, Jandy.
Yeah, Draven Hodge, has been back, but is not as 100% himself. And those turnovers ended up being huge in this game.
Yeah, Gus Scott coughs it up here inside the 10. Lincoln recovers again, just a backbreaker. And again, they would capitalize. Schaefer to Isaac Jarowski, 14-0. Patriots.
And you knew they were going to defend Jack Smith differently. They did, but Isaac Jarowski stepped up.
Watch this catch by Mikey Roach on your head.
You gotta be kidding me. He's a sophomore, folks.
21-0 Patriots at halftime, but Brandon Valley would come out of the locker room motivated. Third play of the third quarter. Thuey to Landon Delaney, 77 yards.
That guy's a finisher. He is a playmaker, and he's just a junior.
But the Pats respond right back. Schaefer to Jarowski again. His second touchdown extends the lead right back to 21 at 28-7. But give the Lynx a ton of credit. They kept battling. This is on 4th down in their own territory. Thuey to Delaney again, 62 yards, 28-14 at that point.
That guy is a monster, and obviously the coverage, there was a slip. But Brandon Valley taking advantage.
And they would take advantage here. Nolan Pudwill with the interception. Schaefer threw 2 picks in the end zone. Keeps the game alive for Brandon. 4th and 1. Gus Scott up the middle. 28-21 midway through the fourth quarter. Lincoln trying to solve it away.
Love this play.
Brandon stops them. They got a minute 26, no timeouts, but they were sacked on first down. This is 4th and 18. Bonwell Whitty is just a couple of yards short. And Lincoln escapes in its toughest test of the year, 28-21.
First of all, Navarro Shunky's individual effort on that play where he stopped Lincoln.
He played both ways for the first time.
Was unbelievable, and he might be playing defense in college too, but that's a whole different point. This Sioux Falls Lincoln Patriot team got tested for the first time in a big way, and they responded as winners.
And we heard from Tate Schaefer and head coach Jared Fredenberg afterwards.
It's definitely huge. As you said, we've lost in the semifinals the last 3 years. I was with them as a freshman, so it's been 3 straight years. It's been tough, so getting over this hump is huge.
We were still up by 7, and so they had to go the length of the field. We felt their only big threat was number 5, and so we were going to keep a guy under him and a guy over him and play man-to-man, and so we had our dime package in there. And Coach Moore did a great job, getting those guys ready to go. And I was still pretty comfortable. And like I told the guy, even if they scored with a minute left, it was a tie ball game. And so I like our guys even coming back, getting in field goal position or even winning it.
Number 10, a senior.
Gorman, this game in Tiger Stadium because Harrisburg won the season finale, picking up 7-7 in the first. Hayden Gruce to Sullivan Schlimgen for the score. 14-7 visitors. This was a back-and-forth game, Jandy.
Yeah, they kept the lead, though, pretty much most of this game up until the halftime. And the strike on 4th down, this is a 17-play drive, and Titan Tryon converted 2 4th downs on that drive.
Extra point no good, however. OG still up 14-13. This is with seconds to go in the half. 54 yards to Braden Fieldy, a backbreaker.
Yeah, Feldy is a guy who is a big-time playmaker. He did it on the kick returns. He did it on that play right before halftime. They're starting to build a lead here, a 2-score lead after Max Carlson got it down to the 1-yard line and punched it in 2 plays later.
Yeah, he gets tripped up right here, but would score a few plays later. 27-14 Harrisburg, but that's when OG starts to turn the tide. Maverick Jones, 15 yards up the middle, cuts it to 27-21. After the Knights force a turnover, it's going to be Jones again, this time off the pitch. 8 yards out, 28-27 OG.
David Brown called it. Maverick Jones with a monster night on both sides of the ball.
Tigers take the lead back on their ensuing drive. Max Carlson again, 34-28. Harrisburg, 4th quarter. Bruce, he's going to dump it off to another big playmaker for the Knights. Ryland Satter, 41 yards. OG back on top, the 4th lead change.
This is unbelievable how much the lead changed back and forth. And for a team that plays so many guys both ways, to come back in the 4th quarter and do this, there's Maverick Jones going off again.
His 3rd touchdown, 42-34 O'Gorman. Harrisburg driving for the tie. There's the ultimate backbreaker. Noah Van Dell, pick 6, 41 yards. And O'Gorman gets revenge after losing the regular season finale. 49-34, the Knights are going to the Dome.
Not exactly the way they drew it up. I don't know if they expected this many points in the game, but after the game, I got a chance to talk to a few of the Knights, including head coach Jason Poppinga, and they were pumped.
I mean, it was huge. I mean, you watch the momentum of that game going into halftime. I mean, Harrisburg had all the momentum. It felt like, last year when they were just ready to pound us and take it to us, and the defense turned it around. And our offense played well enough. I mean, we put points on the board. We had a couple bad drives there. We had the interception on a tipped ball, and things weren't going our way. But, our guys kept believing in each other and made some big plays. I mean, Nolan Van Dell coming up with a pick on a play. I mean, coached up really well, and the defense getting a huge stop on 4th down and offense converting. I mean, it was a well-played game. Harrisburg's an outstanding team. I mean, either team, we play 10 games. It's going to go back and forth. But, tonight we were lucky enough to win.
We've been emphasizing all week it takes all 4 quarters to win games like these. Harrisburg, super talented team, and we faced them. And, it's gone both ways throughout the seasons, but we played our hearts out, and it showed.
Well, we came out in the second half. We were down by a touchdown, but we came out with our confidence high. We knew that if we just played with that same swagger and executed with our game plan that our coaches gave us, that we'd come out on top, and that's what we did.
And OG in the 11 AAA title game. AA now, Watertown and Pierre. Watertown an upstart team, but Pierre, they've been to the Dome 6 straight times, have 6 straight championships, and they look like a championship-ready team here this evening. Cade Kaiser with the run to make it 7-0. Give credit to the Arrows, though. Spencer Winchus. Check out this grab, 47 yards, and we are tied at 7 in the capital city. But Pierre would pretty much put it on cruise control from there. Kaiser, another touchdown run, this one from 13 yards out. And then it's Jet Zabel finding his way inside. He can run a little bit too.
Only had 2 catches on the night. They pretty much held him, but he got the rushing touchdown. But it was Trey Lewis, 101 yards just in the second half. He ended up running for 143 yards in the game, and the Pierre Governors take down the Watertown Arrows and get back to the Dome.
35-14 is your final. Pierre heading to the Dakota Dome for the 7th straight season. The other 11 AA semifinal down in Yankton as the Bucks hosted the Titans from T area, and Yankton would strike on its opening possession. Lucas Kampshoff over the middle to Matthew Sheldon, 6-0 Bucks.
A lot of weapons. We talked about how many different weapons they have. Could they utilize them all against a good defense? They did tonight. Plenty of guys, Carson and Ness.
But the Titans would respond right back on the ground as they always do. Sam Wordle carries it in from 12 yards out, and we are tied at 6. It is tied at 13 when the Bucks would strike again. Kampshoff on the run finds Austin Goebel, nothing but green grass in front of him. 40 yards to pay there, 20-13. And you mentioned the bevy of weapons that this Yankton offense has at its disposal. Kampshoff to Tucker Gilmore this time. Bucks were able to move the ball all night long, Jandy.
They were able to move the ball, but it was close all night long because T took such a long time on their drives, and then Yankton would come back with quick strikes.
Yeah, as you mentioned, T kept coming back over and over again. Felder with his second touchdown here. This was either a tie game or a one-point game at various points throughout the contest. But in the end, as we go to the scoreboard, it is Yankton heading down State Highway 50 to Vermilion with a 33-25 victory.
If you have a chance, go back and watch this game. It was an absolute classic, and the Yankton Bucks punched their tickets to the Dome.
First time they've been there since 2015. In 11A, Sioux Falls Christian and Dell Rapids meeting in the semifinals for the second straight season. The Chargers strike first. Canyon Prince in relief of Lincoln at QB with the keepers 7-0 visitors.
Nobody's been able to do that on Dell Rapids this year, but it's Mason Stubbe. He didn't have any breakout plays in this first half, but he did get a couple of touchdowns.
8-7 quarters after the 2-point conversion, then Stubbe with a 2B, his second touchdown on the evening. And actually that is Jack Henry getting in to make it 14-8 Dell Rapids. But give credit to the Chargers for hanging in despite being undermanned in this one. Johnny Skyberg is going to get the touchdown here from 20 yards out. We are tied at 14. It would stay that way until the fourth quarter. Stubbe had another touchdown, and then that one would ice it. 22-14 is your final score. Dell Rapids will defend its state championship.
Yeah, that was a hard-fought game. We talked about Lincoln getting tested for the first time. Well, this is the first time Dell Rapids got tested in their own class. Congrats to the Sioux Falls Christian Chargers. They're going to be back next year in a big way.
Dell Rapids, however, is moving on. Would they face Lennox or would they face West Central? Orioles up 8-0 in the first, but Jesse Jost responds for the Trojans. Up the middle to Pater, two-pointer no good. So West Central is still down 8-6, but that Lennox disappear, well, that leader, however, would disappear in a hurry. Aiden Bartman cuts inside. Check out these moves. Nearly gets tripped up by his own guy, but then he just cruises down the sidelines. West Central is back on top, and it would stay that way. The Trojan defense increasing the pressure on Boston Katzer. He's going to fumble it. Carson Wilde's going to pick it up. The scoop and the score. 22-8 West Central at that point. And then West Central cruises from there. 57-22. We're going to have a rematch in the 11A championship.
And these two teams haven't played each other in the regular season last year or this year, but they find a way to play each other at the end of the season.
West Central and Dell Rapids once again in 11A. Speaking of championship rematches, an 11B semifinal. Number 4 Elk Point-Jefferson at number 1 winner. EPJ beat winner last year to win it all for the first time. After both teams exchanged punts, the second Huskies drives capped off by this touchdown run from Keaton Gale. 7-0 Huskies after the first quarter. But winner would respond later in the half. Aiden Barfus takes the toss to the outside, 5 yards out. 2-point conversion's good. 8-7 winner at the break. Third quarter, after a winner fumble on the opening possession, Gale is going to fool absolutely everyone, including our fabulous videographer, Alex Heiner. He's going to eventually hit Ashton Fairbanks down the sideline for a 20-yard touchdown. 14-8 Elk Point-Jefferson midway through the third. They would get a stop on the Warriors' next possession. And then watch this. They would block the punt to get a partial hand on it. Garrett Merkley gets his hands on it. That would lead to another Husky touchdown just after the start of the fourth quarter. This time it is Gunnar Ewing who takes it in on the read. 4 yards out, 21-8 EPJ.
To me, the last couple of weeks, EPJ had to come back and make wins. It was so important for them to command this game and have the lead most of the game.
Winner would fight back. Stratton Moore scrambles, finds Sean Hammerbeck open in the end zone. Not a lot of passing plays for Winner this season, but they used it when they needed it the most. 21-16. They'd get the ball back down one score with 2:40 to go, but they'd be stopped. Turnover on downs at midfield. And cue the celebrations for Elk Point-Jefferson. They are going back to defend their 11B title, 21-16.
Unbelievable. They lose so many seniors off of last year's team and yet earn their way back to the Dome. We talked to Jake Terry after the game.
Well, we kind of knew that we're a second half team. We don't really start till late, and I mean, after that first touchdown, we were really excited. So we were down 14 against Tri-Valley and came back and won. So why couldn't we do this?
You know, I think those turnovers in the second half really sparked it. You know, we got the turnover in their territory and that fumble. You know, that really led to that first score at half and kind of swung some of the momentum there. But Winter's so good that you never know what's going to happen one play to the next with them. They could bust something. They're such a great program, too. So to be able to come here and compete with these guys is pretty phenomenal. I couldn't be prouder of this group of seniors. We got 9 seniors here who really busted their tails all season long, all summer, getting up early, leading by example, and leaving last year in the past and doing their own things. Being able to forge their own way through, pretty happy for our guys.
Game, home winning streak, amazing.
Rapid City Christian Hot Springs, 2 upset-minded teams from earlier rounds, 6 versus 10. Hot Springs starts things off. Third play of the game, Braden Peterson, 75 yards.
Well, he started last game off with a kick return touchdown. He starts off with a big touchdown against Rapid City Christian the second time around.
But the Comets would strike right back. Avery whip to Wesley Schlebach. Check out this throw and catch.
Yeah, this guy has been making plays all year for them between him and Wilson Kiefer. They've got some weapons on the outside.
So they would get close, but a big pass block by Colin Iverson there, and Rapid City Christian would have to settle for a field goal to cut it to 7-3. Next series for Hot Springs, Cameron Majewski, 60 yards.
This guy is an absolute beast. We've been talking about him all year long. He's the one guy that nobody else in this class has. He is the reason that they're going to the Dome this year.
Hot Springs up 14-3. How about a spoiler alert there, Jandy? Come on now, we still got highlights to go through. Rapid City Christian came back again. 75 yards, whip to Schlebach. This time it does go for a score, 14-10.
They're going to hang tough, yep.
I was going to say, we are not even through the first quarter at this point in this back and forth affair. And then penalties would eventually take Hot Springs down to the 1 yard line, but not before this nice reverse to Majewski. Check out him pushing the pile, trying to get in. But they would eventually get some penalties down to the 1, take it in 21-10 at that point. And as you mentioned, Jandy, Hot Springs is going to the Dome for the first time in 20 years. 28-10 over Rapid City Christian.
You got to stop number 1, number 2, and number 3 for Hot Springs. An almost impossible task, and tonight Cameron Majewski and the rest of the Bison finally get to go to the Dome this first time in 20 years.
6 seed versus the 4 seed in our championship, Hot Springs and Elk Point-Jefferson.
That's how deep this class is.
9 AA. Hamlin Chargers hoping to be led by a healthy Luke Frazier, but he remains sidelined as they travel to Parkson. Hamlin opened up with a little momentum though. Tyson Stevenson can do it with his arms and his legs. Make some defenders miss into the red zone. That turned into an early field goal. Hamlin leads it 3-0. Hey, they actually got points on Parkson.
More than the average that they've given up this year, that 3 points.
Yeah, Parkson hadn't given up a point since September, but then the Trojans finally got going in the second. Luke Borman with some nice blocking, outruns the defense, galloping in to take the lead. And it's a lead that Parkson would not relinquish. Braden Jervik, he was excellent last week. I need to make sure the momentum would stay on the Parkson side. Out of the Wildcat, finding a big hole down the right sideline. That put them into scoring position, and they would score just a little bit later. Parkson with the lead at halftime, and they would go on to win this one 26-3.
They always put the hammer down late in the game, so yeah, you can't let Parkson have a lead and hope to come back and win that game.
So who would Parkson face? Would it be Howard or would it be Platte-Geddes? First quarter, well, it's Howard that's going to strike first on the road. Carson Feldhaus takes it into the end zone for the Tigers score, 6-0 Howard. Fast forward less than 2 minutes to go before halftime. Howard with a 12-0 lead at this point. And they'll add 6 more. Hoyer with the fake. Luke Kepsel for the touchdown, 17 yards. They're up 20-0 at the break, and they would keep it going in the second half. Jandy, Jackson Remmers.
This team is getting better and better, and they're starting to really meld. It took them a while to get that chemistry, but Jackson Remmers came over from McCook Central last year. He's really in the groove now.
Watch this run by Remmers. Nice cutback, across the middle. Breaking tackles.
Breaking face masks.
Several defenders will need to take him down near the 5-yard line. They would score a couple plays later. And how about Howard going on the road and shutting out Platte-Geddes by a final score of 36-0.
That is a statement game. Howard on a mission since that first loss the second week of the season.
So it is Howard versus Parkson in the 9AA championship. In 9A, Canastota and Warner. The very first play of the game, Tay Jortman drops back, Ty Dobler, 60 yards, Hawks strike first. They were actually up 16-0 in the first quarter on the road at Warner, but the Monarchs would calm down and they would score the rest of the way. Hunter Kramer has just been an all-world quarterback his entire career. Second quarter now, Kramer looking to run, but instead he throws it to Brody Sauerwein. He's been great as well, breaking a tackle, scores from 38 yards out. And after trailing 16-0, Warner with 37 unanswered to take this one 37-16.
This was deja vu. Last year they played in the quarters. The Hawks had a couple score lead. This time they had a couple score lead, and Warner comes back both years. That's got to be a bad feeling for Canastota, but Warner deserves to get back to the Dome.
And so who would Warner face? Would it be Phillip or would it be Dubrook? Gavin Landmark takes the handoff at his own 5-yard line, breaks through the line, and check this out. He's going to race 91 yards for Dubrook to take a 6-0 lead.
Got to feel good for the Dolphins, who have kind of been underdogs in these playoffs, and they go out to Phillip and show that they have some talent.
They're up 12-0 at halftime. This is the third quarter. Jake Svamaka throwing deep to Landmark, finding his way between a couple defenders. 51-yard score. Dubrook's up 18-0. But Phillip would come back. Leighton Turkleton takes it in. Phillip is finally on the board. Scotties are down 18-6. In the fourth, Lane Kugenbecker keeps it, cuts it back, and he's going to score from 35 yards out. That would close the gap to 18-12. Dubrook still on top. After a muffed kick, Dubrook with the ball at their own 5-yard line. They mishandled the snap. The Scotties get a safety. It's 18-14. They have a chance here on the final play, Jandy.
I was watching this game, and you had all the momentum in the world for Phillip. They had a chance before this play even. Batted down twice. He batted it up twice.
Batted it up twice. I was going to say the old cliche is knock it down. Dubrook lucky to bat it up. And how about the Dolphins? They survive and beat previously undefeated Phillip 18-14.
A huge win for this Dubrook area team. Haven't been to the Dome since 2012, and they get a trip back this year.
It will be Dubrook area against Warner in 9A. And finally, in 9B, Potter County traveling to Faulkton in semifinal action. Lane Cotton keeps it himself, takes it into the end zone, 2-pointer good. Faulkton leads 8-0. Second quarter, Faulkton in the red zone once again. Cotton scrambles.
Look at this catch.
And watch the catch. Somehow, someway, Charlie Dieter gets it through the defender's hands. 16-0 Faulkton. And they would keep pouring it on from there. Lane Cotton, Cotton Eye Joe calling his number again. Up the middle for another long score. 22-0 at that point. And guess who is going to get another touchdown? It's Cotton. You don't need to see it again. You already know what happens. 42-0, a shutout for Faulkton area over upstart Potter County.
Yeah, there were a lot of surprises tonight. This is the one that really wasn't a surprise. Faulkton area proving they are and have been the best team in 9B all season long.
And finally, our 14th and final semifinal, DeSmet against Avon. Look at that sunset out in southeastern South Dakota. First quarter, first drive, and first play, Isaiah Meyer. You've been talking about him all season long.
Well, he came on strong early in the game. He's been getting better as the game goes on, but he established the run for Avon early.
That was a big run into DeSmet territory when cap off the drive, this time going around the right end. 3-yard score. Avon leads 8-0 early. And so why not keep feeding your best player the rock, Mr. Meyer, once again?
Yeah, I think the overall team speed goes to DeSmet, but Isaiah Meyer was the best player on the field in this game.
Avon absolutely dominates DeSmet. They win this one 46-19 is your final score. So it'll be Avon against Faulkton, 1 versus 2.
You know what, DeSmet, a great season for them, but they, like you said during Football Insiders, haven't had a huge challenge this year, or at least in a little while. And Avon, they came up, this team that's been up and down all season long, and found their way into the Dome. So the 1-2 seeds in 9B make it to the championship game.
Just want to give a special shout out to Dakota News Now and all of our streamers capturing all these highlights, able to get you highlights from all 14 of these semifinal games. We'll preview the championships a little bit later, but when we come back, we head up to West Fargo and North Dakota. The big classes with their semifinals this evening. We'll speak with Jody Norstead when we come back.
Varsity Sports Live, presented by Farmers Union Insurance. Simply different. Varsity Sports Live, presented by South Dakota State University. Build a better future with South Dakota State University.
And welcome back to Varsity Sports Live. David Brown, Jason Andera. Let's head on up to West Fargo and join Jody Norstead and Carson Zarek. And we had 14 games down here. You guys only had 4 semifinals up in North Dakota tonight, but a good mixture of things. Some of the top teams dominating as they always do, and then a couple of road teams with some upsets.
Yeah, it made for a really interesting night, guys. And Jandy, you're looking sharp, by the way. Love the Blaze Orange. It is playoff season, so we bust out the Blaze Orange.
We didn't get the memo.
Josh Brooks reminded me
before the show.
It was playoff time, and we needed to wear the orange blazers. I almost forgot.
Yeah,
so
Carson and I need to order some. So
kudos to Josh.
Yes.
All right, we got some business
Thanks,
to tend to, though. Boy, it was a fun night. And some upsets, like those guys talked about, some road teams winning here in the postseason and punching their tickets to the Dome.
Yeah, that's what you like to see. You know, it's playoff time, even though, you know, you're a road team traveling. It doesn't always mean that you can't get it done in the playoffs, so good to see on that end.
Let's get to it. It's been Shanley and everyone else in Class 3A, but the defending state champs going against Davies tonight, seeking a 15th consecutive win. They haven't lost since October 14th of last year. That includes a 42-28 win over Davies about a month ago. Eagles coming off that physical 15-7 win over Bismarck on Friday. Deacons rip off a big first play. Landon Meyer, about a 70-yard run here. Meyer added to his 700 rushing yards, gets to 800 tonight. That's a nice one. Davies ends up getting the stop, though. Meyer completes to Sam Oshek on 4th down. He's wrapped up by Grant Chosick. Shanley's defense matching the effort. The pitch here to Zach Lilly, the EDC's leading rusher, but Landon Mitchell's a sophomore to watch on defense.
Yeah, he sure is. A sophomore bringing down the leading rusher in the EDC, and Zach Lilly is no easy task.
Eagles forced to punch. Shanley gets some chunk plays before Meyer strolls into the end zone, his 17th rushing touchdown of the year. Deacons up 7-0. He is a dude.
Yeah, he sure is. He's going to be up there for Senior Athlete of the Year, and you can see why.
Matt Berg hits a field goal to make it 10-0. The ensuing kickoff kicks it so hard that it's too hot to handle. Jordan Leininger recovers, and Shanley has the ball back. Deacons turn it into points. 3rd and 7. Meyer looking for Oshek, and what a catch right in front of the camera. His 20th receiving touchdown of the year.
Yeah, Sam Oshek, standing only in at about 5'9", is kind of their big play threat, just tossing the ball up to him for 6.
And he takes over here, Carson. First play of Davies' next drive. Oshek picks off Gage Brewer.
Yeah, fade balls, it doesn't matter. On the defensive end, getting interceptions, Oshek is the playmaker on both sides.
But wait, there's more. Here we go, Meyer to Oshek, nearly the same play right in front of the camera. Deacons up 24-0 in a span of 5 plays. Oshek, 2 touchdown catches and a pick.
Yeah, Oshek, like you said in the camera there, he might be him.
Deacons up 24-0 at the half. To the second half, Shanley still making plays on defense. Adam Leininger making up for lost time. He's been injured most of the year. 2 picks tonight. Then with under 8 to play, Davies breaks up the shutout. Lilly takes the handout. Camera guy struggles but recovers. Meanwhile, 23 is back into the end zone. They get the 2-pointer, make it a 2-possession game, down 16, under 5 to play. Shanley trying to put this one away. Isaac Perkarevich back from injury, makes the catch, and this run speaks for itself.
Yeah, as if it didn't need another playmaker on the offensive side of the ball. Perkarevich weaves through traffic, and good to see him get on the board and get in the end zone for his team.
That's a 30-yard touchdown, and the Deacons are rolling back to the Fargo Dome with a 31-8 win. They have a shot at back-to-back titles. Perkarevich on his play to put the nail in the coffin in this one.
Before the play started, I knew we needed to get a first down or even a touchdown. It was kind of the drive we needed to have and put the exclamation point on the game and finish it and put our cleats on their throats.
Stop the run and have high energy. We had high energy all night. Our linemen were awesome. We came with energy all day today during school. It's awesome.
All this work we put in the off season and in the weight room this summer really has paid off, because you saw tonight that we're a very strong and fast team, and there's only one game left, so all we got to do is leave it all out there, and we'll see how the outcome comes.
Credit to our D tonight, man. They gave us great field position, because we knew if we could get to 3 scores, we felt very comfortable, and it's not what we usually do in the second half, so it kind of made me, my heart rate goes up a little bit, huddling up every play, but credit to our kids. It doesn't matter how you win. We're going on to the Dakota Bowl.
Yeah, breaking news, Shanley had to huddle a few times. Well, you could say there was some bad blood between the Magi and Mustang fans. Minot felt it deserved the 2 seed with a better record. Cheyenne got it because of head-to-head. 28-20, Cheyenne won that regular season matchup. Here's a big play, though. Caden Olson back to pass, intercepted by Griffin Broderick. And they won't have to wait long to capitalize either. Tyson Ruziska into the end zone.
Yeah, it didn't take long for Ruziska to put his stamp on this game.
7-3 Minot. The Mustangs looking to respond. They do it in a big way. A bomb to Caleb Deere. He had a couple of touchdowns in the regular season meeting. He gets one here. to get Cheyenne's first touchdown. The Mustangs reclaiming the lead, but they're not done yet. Olsen, this time to Kobe Walter, who's all by himself.
Yeah, they have a plethora of receivers, at their disposal. This time Walters is the one who gets in for 6.
It's 17-7 at the half. Cheyenne scores first to start the second half, but Minot answers a 70-yard touchdown. Logan Conklin, all he does is catch touchdowns. This one draws them within 24-14. Cheyenne eventually throws a counterpunch of their own on a bad snap. Caden Olsen to Caleb Deere again, 32-yard strike, and they're back up. But play of the game, 4th and 13. Lucas Peter rolls out to his right, finds Caden Kraft, makes a huge catch. That sets up an eventual 3-yard plunge by Broderick. Magi at 33-26. Cheyenne's down to the final possession. Caden Olsen, heavy pressure. Conklin, the interception to seal it.
Yep, there is your dagger. Conklin came out big with that 70-yard touchdown earlier in the half. Ends the game with the interception to put their stamp on this game and send the Magi to the Dakota Bowl.
And props to the boys at Cheyenne Mustang Media for broadcasting that one. 47-30. How about that wild finish? Minot coming back, erasing the deficit. Beater a passing touchdown, a couple of rushing scores, and Logan Conklin with a big game as well. But Minot defeats Cheyenne. They snap a 6-game losing streak to the Mustangs, and they're heading to the Dakota Bowl for the first time since they were runner-ups in 2017. That's huge for Minot.
Yeah, it sure is. And, it was kind of a back-and-forth game all game. You didn't really know how it was going to end, but the Magi just ended up making a few more plays down the stretch than Cheyenne did, and ultimately that was the deciding factor in the ball game.
Do you think Minot can give Shanley a run? I mean, it's two contrasting styles. Minot has a couple of backs that they want to feed. Shanley wants to get it out on the perimeter, get it to their playmakers. What do you think?
Yeah, Minot has a really good defense. We've seen that all year. They've had countless shutouts against their opponents, and what they do well also is run the football. So you combine good defense with running the football. You maybe take a few possessions away from Shanley, and who knows, you might have yourself a game, when it matters most.
We'll see. It will be the first meeting in the Dakota Bowl between the teams since 1980. They have met for a state championship. 1980, Minot won 30-7. Carson, were you born then?
I don't think so.
No,
nope.
I don't think so. How about this? North walloped Horace 42-0 all the way back August 18th as we switch gears to Class 2A. A lot has changed since then, though. The Hawks are 6-2 over their last 8 games, including a double OT winner last week against Dickinson. North with 2, 3, and 4 seeds all losing last week. They feel it's kind of theirs to lose. Let's take a look at the highlights. North taking on those Hawks. Excuse me, we go to Jamestown and Grand Forks Central. Oh, we got a super wrong, but that's all right. Central taking on Jamestown, and how about this man? Jack Simmers finding his way into the end zone, makes it 7-0. To the fourth we go, still 7-0 Knights. Thomas Newman scores on the rush from 5 yards out, ties the game up at 7s. And then Seppi Saylor is going to get an interception, gives the ball back to Jamestown. Newman to Max Rittenbach, 13-7 Jamestown.
Yeah, that was a little Tim Tebow-esque like jump pass from about the 20-yard line. Huge play for Jamestown.
Knights trying to tie the game here, but Nate Walls, the turnover machine, comes up with his, 6th or 7th interception of the year. Good return here, but then they give it right back. Jack Simmers recovered a fumble, and then with under 2 to play, a lapse in the Jamestown defense. It does not happen often, but boy, they catch him here. Leo Strandell wide open.
Yeah, and just a backbreaker for the Jamestown defense. They were playing well all game, had intercepted Simmers 4 times in the ball game, but just a mental lapse in the defensive secondary, cost them when it mattered most.
And it happens in the final minutes. 45-yard score. Ross Wilbur adds that critical extra point to make it 14-13 the final. How about Grand Forks Central? And Jake Showers' second year as head coach, they are going to the Dakota Bowl. For Grand Forks Central, they haven't been there since 2005 when they won it 39-29 over South. They've played in 3 state titles in the modern era. All have been against Fargo South. Who will they play? Let's take a look. North and Horace. Horace playing with house money at this point, right? 0 wins last year, and now 1 win away from the Dakota Bowl in their second year. Meanwhile, this has been the expectation for North all year. State title or bust. Home team hits the jackpot early. Peter Huggle, we've seen this a few times.
Yeah, we sure have. He's going to break one out. You have to try to contain him as much as you can, but obviously it's a lot easier said than done.
24th rushing touchdown of the year makes it 7-0 North. Trying to score again here. Good pressure by the Hawks, and they get a big knockdown here on 4th and long to turn things over. It was just 10-0 North at the half, but a backbreaker to start half 2 for Horace. turn it over on the first play. Jordan Zander, big man touchdown.
Yeah, you said it right, a backbreaker indeed. You're trying to get the ball out quick and pick up some yardage, and you just throw a backwards pass, which goes the other way for North.
That makes it 17-0 early in the third. Then a jumbled snap, but Ethan Welk cleans it up. Close enough, gets into the end zone, makes it 23-zip Spartans. Late third, big turnover here. How about this interception by Parker Dosh?
Yeah, just a batted ball, tips and overthrows. That's what you love to see as a safety in the secondary, and he took advantage of that.
Little David Tyree Giants helmet catch. That leads to this, a field goal, 37 yards, MSU Moorhead. Future man, Max Watson splits the uprights. He's been good this year. Hawks do find the end zone in the fourth. Let's show the highlight. Dylan Johnson running hard. Great season for him. And good for Horace to get on the board, but the damage is done tonight. North wins it 40-14, 11-0. The Spartans roll to the Fargo Dome, and all they have to do is pretty much, pack up a few things. You can walk out in the cold because it's about 2 blocks away to get to the Fargo Dome, where they will play for the second straight year. They came up runner-up last year to Jamestown. You know that North team has been circling this on the calendar. You don't want to overlook any opponent, but right now they are rolling. They've rolled throughout the whole season. Can anyone stop the Spartans? South gave them the toughest game in the regular season, a 1-point victory for North, but I don't know. Does Central have it?
Yeah, from what North has shown up to this point of the season, I'd say no. It doesn't look like anyone can stop them. But, when you go indoors, you're playing under the bright lights of the Fargo Dome, obviously anything can happen. Central has kind of clawed and gritted their way up to this point. And, they're, like I said, they're a gritty team. So I know they're going to give North a run for their money. But, they're going to have to first off contain Peter Haugo. Like I said, easier said than done. But if they can do that, they'll have a shot.
And for Central, it's kind of live and die by what Jack Simmers does. When they made the switch to put him at the quarterback spot, that's kind of when their season started to turn. I believe they started I think it was 1-4 or something like that at the beginning of the season. And now look where they are. They're playing for a state championship as a 7 seed. But it's kind of they go as Jack goes.
Yep, exactly. And what Jack Simmers provides at the quarterback position is that dual threat ability. Coming from a receiver to a quarterback, he has the ability to throw the ball, but, having the ability to take off and run kind of gives a dynamic threat to that Central offense.
So we have 2 1 seeds, North and Shanley, into the championship game, and a couple of interesting foes. Minot, the 3 seed. They thought they'd maybe be the 2 seed. They go to Cheyenne and get a little bit of revenge against the Mustangs, and Minot comes in rolling with a lot of confidence. Should be some fun. Grand Forks Central, we're missing a Central helmet. So if Coach Schauer is listening, let's get a Grand Forks Central helmet in here on Dakota Bowl Day, and we'll make sure to have it on the set. Carson, it's been a lot of fun talking some football with you. We'll obviously be here next week for the Dakota Bowl, but Brad Anderson and Chase Miller are going to be joining us next to break down Saturday's slate of games, which should be a lot of fun in Class A and 9-man. So this guy has been a trooper, and we'll keep rolling. Big state championship coming up a week from tonight, but Shanley, Minot in 3A, North, and Grand Forks Central coming up in 2A. But after this, we preview Saturday's slate of action. Chase Miller, Brad Anderson joining us next here on Varsity Sports Live.
Varsity Sports Live, presented by Farmers Union Insurance. Simply different.
Welcome back to Varsity Sports Live. Tomorrow, the final outdoor games of the season will be played as 8 teams battle for 4 spots in Dakota Bowl 31. Here to break it down, as always, 103.9 The Truck's Brad Anderson and Chase Miller from your live event. Gentlemen, let's begin in Class A, where the 4-seeded teams all reached the semifinals. Top-seeded Velva Drake Anamoose Garrison beat Shiloh by 30 to reach the semis. Trinity used a fourth-quarter surge to get by Killdeer. Kindred topped Oaks 39-6, and Langdon Edmore Munich rode the turnover train to a victory over Central Cass with 4 interceptions in the game, including a 100-yard pick-6 by Cody Gamble. You both were at the Langdon Central Cass showdown. What impressed you about the Cardinals? We'll start with you, Brad.
I think how physical they were. They've got 2 big down tackles that can take a lot of space, and I think that leads to playmakers like Amble and Rumfo open to make plays, but just how physical they played, and the fact that, they adjusted to the field conditions. They kind of disregarded the passing. They just looked to run, and then Central Cass just couldn't weren't a lot of negative plays on the ground that the Squirrels defense could come up with on Saturday.
Yeah, and that'll kind of go to that Race Worley, 6'4" quarterback at over 100 yards of rushing. I wrote the names down to give him a lot of credit. Bookend with the twins, with Caden and Dawson Hyen, Theo Rumfo, Reed Shear, and also Parker Remy, those guys up front. Brad was talking about Jacob Lowry and Cole Welsh as well, a little bit on the defensive side. They really impressed me. They didn't give Central Cass a lot of lanes to run through, and offensively, they opened up holes when they needed to. Langdon was never behind the sticks. They were always on schedule, it seemed like, on Saturday, Jody.
It's tough to score against Central Cass, and they did a nice job of finding the ways to get that done. Well, for the 5th time in 7 years now, Kindred and Langdon Edmore Munich meet in the postseason. The only 2 years that they didn't was when they weren't playing in the same division back in 2019 and 20. The Vikings have ended Langdon's season each of the last 2 years. How does Langdon stop that streak, Brad?
I think they are strong where Kindred is strong, quite frankly. I think the fact that offensive line, I think they can match the size and the physicality of Kindred. So I think maybe kind of simpler is better in that regard. And I think that they have to try and at least control the running game. I don't know if you put a spy in Keon Starcevic, or I imagine I'd probably start there, or if you just stack the box and dare him to throw the football. I think the weather is supposed to be okay on Saturday. So that's probably what I would do, is I think you match your strength with their strength.
I've seen both Kindred and the Cardinals this year have 6, 7, 8-minute drives. You might only get 8 possessions potentially on Saturday if both teams ground and pound the ball. And the last thing, Langdon will look to take a deep shot. They did a couple times against the Squirrels. They'll roll the pocket out for Worley, give them some time, go one-on-one to a Kingsit or a Rumfo down the field. If Langdon hits those, that's going to advantage the Cardinals. If they miss one or two, they didn't connect against the Squirrels, but they might get a pass interference. You never know what can happen. So the deep ball, I would say, would be something, for Kindred's defense to look out for. Yeah. But I think that's going to be large.
18 minutes plus in time of possession in the second half last Saturday against Central Cass for Langdon.
That would do it if they're able to do that against a Kindred team that likes to do kind of the same as you alluded to, just two similar teams.
Play keep away.
The other semifinal, another rematch from last postseason. Velva defeated Trinity 36-13 last year in the quarterfinals. Is there any reason to think that they won't do it again, Brad?
Well, Trinity, I think, the running game, I think that with Kovash and Dassinger, I think maybe, but boy, Velva just looks like they are hitting on all cylinders right now. And maybe there was a question did they play a real tough schedule in that region? And I think it doesn't matter. They've shut down Shiloh, and they've proven that they can run the ball and play physical, but they can throw it a little bit too. They had, pretty decent conditions last week on the turf in Minot, but they look like a team on a mission, and Trinity might have to. We talked about what Langdon and Kindred do. Trinity might have to do the same thing.
Yeah, and Shep and Bodine, that's just going to be tough. Shep is just such a smart quarterback. I know they lost some good linemen off last year's team, but what Shep does at the quarterback spot, and Eaglehart out there catching some balls, and Bodine, the hard running that he does, and the solid defense, that's going to be a tough team to beat. But I'll add my 2 cents. Last year, the Titans played them tough for a half. It was 6-0 Aggies at the break, and then Peyton Bodine broke off some big runs in the second half, and they pulled away. But Trinity's been much better defensively, too, this season. After allowing 24 points per game last year, they've held teams under 9 points per contest this season. Run the ball, play good defense, always key this time of year. We'll see how beat up they got against that Killdeer squad in the freezing cold, too, and we'll find out how much they have left in the tank. Switching over to 9-man, after some epic quarterfinal games, here's what we have for semifinal matchups. North Prairie will visit Region 3 champ and undefeated West Hope Newburgh Glenburn. Meanwhile, South Border heads to New Rockford Cheyenne Maddock to take on the Rockets in a battle of unbeatens. Let's start with the North Prairie West Hope Newburgh Glenburn matchup. The Cougars were in a tight one with Nelson County. They actually trailed 16-14 at the half before outscoring Nelson County 22-6 in the second half to win it. Meanwhile, the Sioux absolutely overwhelmed Grant County Flasher, up 46-0 at one point. What's going to decide the outcome in that semi-chase?
Yeah, take a look back at what happened last season. I think you have to start there. 46-20. 3 of the 12 first-team all-offensive players in 9-man were in that game alone last year, and 2 of them are back this season. So there's going to be some talent on both sides of the football. When you look at the Sioux, Walker Broughton obviously is going to be someone that you have to key on. It seems like he's on a mission by himself. He's got a great team around him, but when he gets an open space, that's going to be a big thing. Well, for North Prairie, Nate Tasted, the 6'4", 250 North Prairie lineman that's going to NDSU, he just opens up lanes. And then also Blake Madsen, the senior defensive back, it seems like he just makes big play after big play. So when you look at that matchup, the real question for me is, can the Sioux go up against that North Prairie offense, get a turnover, get an early 3-and-out? Because North Prairie, what they've been able to do against teams all year, find ways to just continue to score 6 through the air on the ground, and I think that's going to be my biggest takeaway into that, because I think North Prairie will get some stops here and there against that West Hope Newburgh offense.
Yeah, North Prairie, outside of that matchup that they lost, the one game that they lost, Blake Madsen has really been humming along in that backfield, and those road graders up front have been doing a nice job as well. New Rockford Cheyenne Maddock beat Lemoore Litchfield Marion in a frantic finish. South Border nabbed a game-sealing interception in the final minute to hold off a rally from Hettinger County. What should we expect from this game on Saturday afternoon?
Well, I was impressed with New Rockford. 2 touchdowns on 4th down last week. So I'm looking to. I think 3rd and 4th down might be key. Is if can New Rockford extend drives and move the chains a little bit. South Border as well, I think, is going to probably be a little bit more of a conservative approach. New Rockford likes to get up and down. Will New Rockford be able to, spread things out a little bit against that South Border defense too? I think that'll also be key.
Berkeley France has been so good for South Border. The sophomore quarterback has had that team rolling, whether it's Connor Koziak out there, a good playmaker on both sides of the ball. That South Border team will be tough to beat. And I was surprised, actually, that South Border didn't get seated higher than the Rockets at the time, just considering where they were at in the polls all year. I'm guessing the Mustangs haven't forgotten about that either. They would love to be playing this game at home in either Ashley or Wishick. Maybe a little extra motivation for Evan Melmer's team. Okay, that is a wrap. We'll do one more of these next week. That'll go straight to social media as we preview the Dakota Bowl. But when Varsity Sports Live returns, we head back down to South Dakota for some final thoughts with the state championship matchups solidified.
Varsity Sports Live, presented by South Dakota State University. Build a better future with South Dakota State University.
Welcome back. Wrapping things up here on Varsity Sports Live. All 7 South Dakota championships are set, Jason Andera.
And we're going to have some terrific matchups. And starting with the bigger classes, we've got a lot of the top-ranked teams that are going to get to go to the Dome.
So let's get a quick look at them. In AAA, it is O'Gorman and Sioux Falls Lincoln. Lincoln won 58-35 in the regular season in a game you saw on Midco. But we saw from Brandon Valley tonight, Lincoln can be tested.
And the O'Gorman-Lincoln game, first time they played this year, was close at halftime. And I think those O'Gorman players are more conditioned. Look the way they came back in the fourth quarter tonight.
Absolutely. Lincoln and O'Gorman in AAA. In AA, Pierre going for a 7th straight title, but they will face Yankton this time, their first trip to the Dome since 2015, when they beat Pierre in overtime in the state championship.
And Yankton is a team that, when they played Pierre earlier in the year, they gave Pierre a game. They were ahead for a little bit in that game as well, so that should be a good one.
It was 27-14 Pierre at Yankton back in September. In 11A, it's a rematch from last year, West Central and Dell Rapids.
Yeah, they don't play each other in the regular season. They just wait to the Dome to play each other, and these are 2 terrific teams. And last year, it was a weird game in the Dome. This year should be a tremendous battle.
Dell Rapids won last year 24-7. In 11B, the 4 versus the 6,
Yeah.
Hot Springs and Elk Point-Jefferson.
Yeah, how about that? Hot Springs, I think, deserved a better seed than a 6 seed. They played like it, and Elk Point-Jefferson, the defending champs. So still 2 very good teams in the finals.
They met last year in the semifinals. EPJ won that one 47-14. In 9AA, it will be Howard against Parkson. This was the quarterfinal matchup last year. Undefeated Howard lost kind of shockingly to Parkson. They get a second chance at the Trojans in the championship this year.
Yeah, coming into the year, there were about 5 or 6 teams people talked about as championship contenders, but it was Howard that was the #1 team coming in, and now it's been Parkson, the #1 team for the last half of the season.
Howard trying to win a title in AA 2 years after winning it all in 9A would be a tremendous accomplishment for Howard. In 9A, Warner against Dubrick area. Dubrick making just their second Dome appearance ever. Warner looking to avenge last year's title loss to Gregory. Warner 0 for 4 in championship games.
The Dolphins, what a season they've had. A couple of losses that you probably scratch your head a little bit, but the wins when it counted against some really good teams at the end of the year. An undefeated Alcester-Hudson team and an undefeated Phillip team go down.
And then finally, in 9B, it will be Avon against Faulkton area. Faulkton, their first trip since 2014. They're 0-3 in championships. Avon, their first trip since 2013. By the way, they played in the first round last year. The final score was 74-48. Maybe we'll see that kind of offense on the carpet again. Who knows?
Let's hope we do. Great for Faulkton to get back to the Dome, and then Avon as well has had a tremendous season.
So those are your state championship games. The 9-mans will happen on Thursday. The first 3 11-mans will happen on Friday, and then the AAA will be on Saturday. We will be back live next week once again. Varsity Sports Live at 10:30 Central. For Jason Andera, Jody Norstead, Carson Zark, and our entire Midco Sports production crew, I'm David Brown. Thanks for watching VSL.